William Rodriquez on September 11, 2001 quickly transitioned himself from being a normal janitor to a true selfless hero that decided to stay in the buildings and open up doors that he only had the key to let firefighters and people escape the Twin Towers. He saved countless numbers of lives and barely escaped himself, being the last person out of the Twin Towers running towards a fire truck that saved his life. In the beginning, everyone was captivated by his story. Politicians cowered around him. They tried to bribe him and make him promises of political power if he would just shut up about the explosions Willie heard and experienced in the basements of the Twin Towers that disputed the official story. Of course, Willie, the true person that he is, said hell no, and he was ostracized, banished, and even arrested by the establishment. Now, no one knows about him in the United States, but everyone internationally knows who William Rodriquez is. Here is Willie.
Willie, how are you and what are you up to?
Oh my God, I'm surprised that you showed up to this event. I'm here in Miami. I'm talking about security issues with the biggest association of security experts in Latin America. You have seen people from the military here, people from governments and from 18 different countries in Latin America. And I was the keynote speaker. It has been an honor, a privilege to be able to bring the message of my story, what happened on 9/11, and it's incredible the reception that I get. I'm very surprised because all the attention and the love that I receive, and that almost 15 years after 9/11, we're still getting the respect as victim survivors and people affected by the event as we did in the beginning. But in a way, you've seen it but yourself. We get more attention and more respect from all these experts from all over the world than we get it from America itself. Mm-hmm. Because right now we're still fighting for an extension of the Zadroga bill. As you can see that we're fighting for the legislation to be expanded. And it's like, people don't understand. When I go to all these countries to talk about it, they don't get it. They say, wait. You're telling me that after the event, we're not taking care of those heroes? We're not doing the right thing. I mean, we're doing the right thing, but we got to continue fighting to remind them. I'm talking about the United States. The sacrifice that these people did for us.
Now, I spent some time with Willie recently, even down in Mexico, and the reception William gets in Mexico, it's like Ricky Iglesias has just come out with his new album. I mean, it is just fascinating. I mean, people mob you. People on the streets recognize you all the time. And it's not only in Mexico, but, everywhere around the world, you're recognized as this huge motivational speaker that not only, is really just a true hero, but just giving people that right energy to overcome a lot of adversities. But in the United States, there's a different kind of reception. Why do you think that's the case?
Well, remember that I told a lot of stories about what happened on 9/11 that made a lot of people nervous about my experience, and then you got a lot of crazy people that came out with extreme theories that I attacked. So I started getting kind of attacks from different diverse groups, and but I didn't care because I was telling my part of the story, what I experienced on 9/11, and if people felt uncomfortable, I'm sorry, and if people got the wrong impression, I'm so sorry as well. But it goes with the territory. My community from the very beginning, as you have seen the situation with Trump attacking the Latino, the Mexican people per se, is the wrong branding that he can do with the Trump name. In my case, I have been able to take my experience of 9/11 and bring it to the people that were Latinos, and they understand, my sacrifice for them, the sacrifice that I did for the undocumented people of 9/11. So somehow that has basically transported me and my story to bigger audiences and to bigger receptions than, as you said, what I get in the United States.
Yeah. It's amazing. 15 years and the story never changed. It's the same fascinating, very important story that everyone needs to understand. Now, even the media, you're doing so many interviews down in Mexico. we're here in Miami, and there's no media attention. What do you attribute this? Is it this kind of same kind of thing, or what's happening here?
Well, what I do as well, I choose the media that I give interviews. I did get contacted by CNN and by the Miami Herald, and I choose not to do the interviews after all because, number one, I'm here for 3 days only. Number two, because it's an event that is a security event, it's experts in the security industry, so it should be viewed as that, and so I get to choose what kind of interviews I do from now on. After doing thousands upon thousands of interviews all over the world, and now I get to the point that I can say, well, I can say no to this one, I can say no to this other one, which I didn't do before. Honestly, I used to speak to everyone and everybody to the point that I said, well, I have to be more choosy when it comes to the people that I want to do the outreach. And, basically after almost 15 years, the story is going to be there. I'm living history, whether I like it or not, and I have to carry on with the mission. And that's what I'm doing, a mission.
Yep. Now, after 9/11, there was kind of this huge reception that you got, obviously, for your true, just heroic actions. And a lot of the politicians, whether it was Bush or Hillary, just like came running towards you. They kind of, I kind of see it as they saw you as someone that they could kind of take a photo op with. And then you kind of see them totally back off when you keep telling the same story and over again. Was there ever any pressure from them to say, don't say about this specific aspect, don't talk about what happened here? Was there ever pressure that came down on you from kind of the higher ups?
It always did, and as a matter of fact, you were a special witness when I was on the no-fly list for a while, which didn't make sense because a person that was named national hero at the same time to be on the no-fly list didn't make any sense. And even though I'm never called myself a hero, I'm just a survivor. I made a lot of people uncomfortable when I started fighting for the formal investigation, the famous 9/11 Commission that interviewed a lot of people. I was just an extra one of the people that they interview, but everybody knew by then my story and what I was saying. And if you see my testimony is still considered secret on the National Archives, which is funny because it's the same story that I've been telling from the very beginning. When I started talking about what happened, that I heard explosions in the building. And again, I want to clarify something. It could have been anything. People have taken my story and say that there were bombs planted in the building. I never said that. And I don't know that. I'm not an expert, and I was never an expert, and it could have been a fax machine blowing up. The thing is that, it wasn't investigated, even though the 9/11 Commission wasn't in the task on investigate those things, as I understand now. So my views have changed through the years, and I do believe that, after being kind of dated by the top politicians, they were uncomfortable with some of the things that I said about 9/11.
Yeah, and obviously,
and the work that I did for the undocumented, the work that I did for the immigrants, which was a very, very affected community at the time. And but I'm glad that I was able to sacrifice what I was doing in terms of recognition to help those community. And up to now, it has paid off. Yeah. And now when it comes to the situation with Trump, when he came out to do all these racist things about the immigrants, I was basically brought up over international affairs again because I attacked Trump.
Yeah. Now, it's just amazing. Internationally, you're a motivational superstar. In the U.S., you get put on the no-fly list. And you also were arrested. And you faced a bunch of horrendous atrocities and a bunch of horrendous adversities just for telling the same story over and over again that has never changed. Which just and it's been verified by so many other people who were also with you on that, fateful day. Can you just tell us about, some of the adversities that you faced, just, being honest, being the true person that you are?
Well, as you know, I was arrested at the 10-year anniversary in New York. I was invited to do an interview for Voice of America, which is the government official radio. And once I got to the federal building in New York, I was arrested for going to do an interview. And I was held for 3 days, no charges. Luckily, I knew the law, and I had the help of one of the biggest civil rights lawyer in New York. When I contacted him from jail, or from detention, he was very surprised, and there was no charges. I was detained. And they were going to invent a couple of charges that never sticked on. And, I got out. I got out because they got no legal resource. And I believe it was because, it was the day that, and my speculation again, that Obama was coming to ground zero, and I had a lot of followers with me on the 9/11 anniversary. So I guess they felt very uncomfortable about that. That's one of the things. I was on the no-fly list for a long time, but then I was taken out. I don't know how. I guess the media attention, and like you said, I'm just a motivational speaker that I speak to people on how to face adversity, how to do great things in moments of despair, how to take negatives and turn it into positives, and on top of that, how to become an activist. And that's what we all do. That's what you do in your own way. That's what I do in my own way, and we're trying to change people's hearts and visions about our experiences, and that's all.
Yep. And internationally, you also spend a lot of time with a lot of world leaders. You've been all over the world speaking the same story, motivating people everywhere. What is there one moment that kind of sticks out to you? I know it's hard because you've been everywhere, but is there one moment somewhere in the world that you've been at that finally brought just a little bit of closure to you, knowing that you're doing the right thing? Like one moment that just solidifies everything.
When I went to Malaysia, and I met Tun Mahathir Mohamad, the former Prime Minister of Malaysia. When he heard my story, he said, wow, what you went through is so amazing, and we wanted to investigate a little bit about what happened on 9/11, and he invited me to the palace, and I went to Putrajaya, which is where he has his own palace, and I was surprised by the treatment that I received from him, and nothing political, but it was all about empathy. What a lot of leaders forgot to do with the victims of 9/11 was that empathy, and I did receive that empathy from the former Prime Minister. And another thing that stick out with a world leader will be when I went to Venezuela. When I went to Venezuela and I was doing speeches over there, and I was brought to the National Assembly, and the guy that basically gave me a tour took a sword from Simon Bolivar and took a picture with me and whatever. And I said, who's this guy? I said, he's Nicolas Maduro. Little did I know that guy was going to become the president of Venezuela after Chavez. So, I met a lot of crazy situations that I never knew that this was going to happen. And I opened the museum May last year, and I opened it with Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. So, it's experiences after experiences. So it's just, I wonder why still 15 years after, I still meeting with all these top leaders. But it's a hunger. It's a hunger to get information about the side of the story of the victims and survivors that they haven't heard from experts or politicians or government officials. They want to know from the survivors their experience about that event.
Yeah. The most important event in the next 100 years, if not the next century, that will affect us for our existence, and it's the most important one.
Well, you see the importance, and you see where you have covered a couple of my security events. 9/11 changed the world of security. We know that after 9/11, our government have spent over $1 trillion, I believe, in security since the event. It changed everything about security worldwide. Yep. So that's why I am able to bring this information to all these experts, because they want to hear. Yep. So, and I got certifications. That's a good part. When I go to this event, I get certification from the special trainings that they do, and I have a bunch already. So it gives me kind of the brand of recognition as an expert that I didn't have before.
So what's next? How can people not only find out more about you, but how can people help you?
Well, Well, simply, I will continue doing this as a mission. I'm going all over the world, still now representing the victims. I actually run the 9/11 survivors page. It's not secret. It's a closed group on only for 9/11 survivors on the internet, on Facebook. I'm still giving services to those that need 9/11 services. And basically, what you can do to help is just continue telling the story. That's all. I don't need donations. I don't need monetary help. But I do believe that, if you can survive an event like 9/11, you can survive worse things after that when it comes to the attacks that you receive, what I've been doing. No? Yep. And what I will ask is that, share the videos, share the information, and then help those people that are doing the sacrifice for you. An example, you have Mr. Luke here that is all over the world, covering news items that nobody else is covering. Well, give him the help because he's the one putting his skin out there. I basically, survive doing conferences, motivational conferences, but he's out there. He needs to do this all the time. Yeah. So basically, it's just to support us in any way you can. In my case, share the information, share the videos. In Lucas' position, help him with donations so he can continue traveling the world.
And if you want to hear an amazing story, if you want to have, I think, seriously, one of the best motivational speakers out there, get in contact with William Rodriquez, a true unsung hero that's done amazing, beautiful, humbling work. He's known internationally, but he should be known nationally. Spread the word.
Was Building 7 because it never really got any attention. And it was really just like a question, like I said in the song. It's like, yo, did they really pull it? Because you watch like certain documentaries and you watch counter documentaries and you watch.
Declassify these 28 pages. Yeah. They can call their member of Congress and ask their member of Congress to join in the House effort, and it's H Resolution 14